What is going on, guys? What is going on? A little music. Let's see who we got in here. Let's see. Baron's in here. Let's see. Baron, another loss, but it was a big step forward for Bryce. It was a huge doubter. Now I have belief. He put another big confidence. Yeah, Bryce stepped up today. Big time. We'll talk about that more. Let's go through these comments real quick. Panthers should have spiked the ball after the catch Adam Thielen. So close in the end. A lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, Chandler. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, to be honest. So, I mean, that catch by Thielen though, that was nasty. But I mean, I don't disagree per se. YB, Bryce Young, Eyes though, great job keeping them down the field. Yeah, I mean that throw to what, Trimble? Woo, that was nasty. And that's something he struggled with last year was, moving out to the left or the right, trying to throw the ball down the field. This year, since that benching, big improvement. Storm said it's tough to take that field goal because it's at 35. Yeah, Eddie struggled today. Eddie struggled bad, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Part of me wanted Eddie to struggle only because of this. I wanted to see Dave go for it in the red zone. We lost the Chiefs. Why? Because we took nothing but field goals. Bucs, it was the same thing. We keep taking nothing but field goals. I wanted to see what Dave would come up with. Maybe make him a little bit more aggressive in the red zone. Eddie's a good guy. Eddie's made most of his field goals. But I kind of wanted to see him miss just to see Dave be a little bit more aggressive. In the end, they still lost. But Eddie struggled. Eddie definitely struggled. YB, this game should have been a blowout by the Panthers. 2 missed field goals and touchdown. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's because last week it was the same thing, like I just said. Too many field goals. Way too many field goals. Settling for a 52-yard field goal in the down. Yeah, Chuba, I mean, that was just a hell of a play by what? I think his name was Nelson, the linebacker. It's unfortunate. Another thing is, how many reps did Chuba get? Because Brooks got quite a few. We're going to talk about that, obviously, but Brooks got way more carries and reps than I thought he was going to get, and I almost wonder, again, not making an excuse for Chuba, but if that took him kind of out of his momentum, out of his zone, right? Let's see. Chuba, 12 carries, catches. Did he have any? Let's see. I don't think Chuba had a single target, so Chuba only had 12 carries, and that was it. Dang. So maybe that played into it a little bit. Again, not making an excuse for Chuba, but only 12 carries. It's kind of hard to stay in that zone sometimes, especially when Chuba's getting the ball between 15, 20 times minimum on the ground, and then you add in the receiving game too. Baron 100% was a touchdown before the half. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we. I don't want. Let's talk about some of the positives. I'm with you though, Baron. Field goal and run D is what a lot of us won. 100%, right? So I feel like we've taken a step forward. Now it's how do we take that next step, right? And one thing that we've seen time and time again the last few weeks, whether you go back to the Giants, the Chiefs, or now the Bucs, the red zone play calling, it does not look good. Is it on Bryce? Is it on the receivers, right? Is Dave completely switching up the play calling? What you do in the red zone, but Dave has to figure out why this is not going smooth at all, right? What's going on there? So I'm with you. Field goals, once again, just like the Chiefs, it hurt us. Dark said red zone offense failed us. Eddie P. Yep, I mean, I agree. What's going on, Storm? I don't know how you possibly don't call that a touchdown. I didn't see what they said when they came back. I thought he got his foot or his knee down, then the elbow down. Maybe it was like a particle touching the white line. I didn't see for sure, but I don't know. I was shocked we didn't get that either. I'm guessing because they ruled it incomplete first, maybe inconclusive evidence. If I had to guess. Chuck, what up, though? What's going on, Chuck? What do you think of the game, my guy? Baron, we were throwing the ball way too much in short air situations. 2nd and 1, we can pick up the first. I do think we're throwing a lot in the red zone, to be honest, too. I do think he's He sees mismatches to a point. I think Dave does offensively, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't think Bryce has the timing down in the red zone yet with the guys because a lot of the balls they're not the best from Bryce in the red zone, and it's not as far as the accuracy. It's kind of the route separation, and everything else that leads into it. Braden, what's going on? Literally thought better not fumble, and Chuba decides to take us still swinging the ball around. I mean, I can't get mad at Chuba. Chuba's been the only bright spot the last 2 years. Yeah, it's frustrating. Is it the reason we lost? Yes and no. You know, the run defense on that last drive was bad. You know, so yes, Chuba played a big part in it, but again, Chuba's been the only bright spot on offense the last 2 years, to be honest. So, it is what it is. Or Excel's. Here's my thing with this, Chuck. When it comes to Excel, I gotta let him grow. You know, I gotta let him grow. Did the Panthers reach on Excel? You could make that argument, but again, he's got a huge ceiling. So we'll see what happens. Excel, it's going to take time. Ryan said, "Here's the thing: we should have won that game. Bryce deserved that win. That kid is looking better every week." Yeah, Ryan. I mean, Bryce Young, the throws he was making. Woo! Come on, man. Come on, man. Bryce Young was making some crazy throws. There will definitely be a video tonight or maybe in the morning. But yeah, Bryce Young, and here's the thing about Bryce Young. I touched on this either earlier this year or in the offseason. You know, I always talk about the fundamentals with Bryce, you know, keeping his hips open. But the thing with Bryce is Bryce is different as far as he doesn't have to do that because he has a natural touch on the ball, right? It's just a natural touch. And it seems like he's actually starting to figure that out. Storm said our rookies look great. This is the one reason I'm not completely mad we lost. I mean, if we would have won the last 2 games, we could actually be competing for the division. So that part's a little frustrating. But if you look at who we drafted, right, you got XL. So far, so good, if you ask me. Brooks, he's showing you what he can do in the open field with the ball, right? So you got Brooks, Shaw Smith-Wade today, huge interception. Jatavion Sanders. I mean, come on, man. They're hitting. The draft picks are hitting. Oh, and Trevin Wallace. Trevin Wallace, big sack too. 4 guys, and they traded Michael Baird to get Mike Jackson. I mean, that's 5. So this draft, I'm extremely excited for, because 5 of those guys that came on the team this year from the draft class, killing it. Yep, I think he is, Storm. I think he is. Avira was a problem. Then this one's tough. This one's tough, James, because as much as I want to blame Aviro, is it fair to blame him when there's injuries? I spent so much time blaming people these last couple of years. On Aviro gets Shaq hurt, he gets Derek Brown hurt, Josie's been hurt part of the season. The safeties aren't what we thought they were going to be. I don't know. I wish they could interview him and figure out, okay, why do you not want to blitz? You know, what's the whole scheme behind that? Unfortunately, we're never going to know. We're never going to know if he doesn't trust his DBs, it's the safeties, it's the cornerbacks, it's the man-to-man. We're never going to know, but there has to be a reason why he's playing as conservative as he does. Bryce, Ryan's, I might have to order my Bryce, you might have to. The next week is against Philly. If I'm not mistaken, it's against Philly next week. That's going to be interesting. Baron, happy what I saw from Brooks. Oh, 100%. Brooks in the open field. I think Dave got almost 2. If I'm being honest, I think Dave got 2 carried away with Brooks there. I don't remember if it was the second or third quarter, but it was like it was going to Brooks every single time. I'm like, all right, let's give Brooks a little bit of a break. That actually might have been the fourth quarter, to be honest. If I remember right. Eddie, okay, James, 100%. This is what I talked about last week, too, and I don't know how many people understood it. The Panthers messed up letting Patrick Mahomes get that big run, but then they messed up letting the kicker, the guy who hasn't kicked at all this year, go to that hash he was comfortable with, right? For right kickers, I believe they want to be on that right hash. Right if I'm not mistaken, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but you always see the team is trying to get to the right hash for the kicker to set up with because they have that much more miss room from right to left versus a right kicker, right-footed kicker trying to kick right to left, if that makes sense, right? So James 100%, right? So I think moving forward, you just fix that issue. If you think you're going to, kick the field goal, I guess kind of work it back to the right side. Yeah, he got only 13 carries. Thought he should have got more. I mean, Brooks didn't look too bad, to be honest. 6 carries, 18 yards, not bad. But as you saw, Brooks' specialty is in the open field, right? That's where Brooks shines at, is in the open field. If we had anything that resembles a defense, Bryce should have had that game-winning drive. Now, Ryan, I will say this. I thought our pass defense actually looked good. As far as pressure, give or take, but secondary actually looked better. But you saw on that drive, let me see if I can find it real quick. There was that drive towards the end of the game where they just pounded the ball down our throat. Right? I think they went on to score. What was his face? Where was it? Was it this play? Yeah, 11 plays, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Like, come on, man. We can't have that. You can't have that. Irving to the right, Irving up the middle, Irving to the left. Baker Mayfield, short pass to Irving, short pass to McMillan. Irving to the right, Irving up the middle. Short pass, and then Irving touchdown. Our run D has to get fixed. Our run D has to get fixed. And yeah, it leads to this. We are missing Derek Brown. So, 100%. 100%. YB, I didn't like Avero play calling the defense. I didn't look like play calling the. So, if that's the case, YB, who do you think is calling the defense? Let me know. I don't know who would be calling the defense then. Let me know what you think. Panera lost us the game. I don't. You can say that. I can't say that. You can say that if you want, odds. I'm not going to blame you. There was mistakes everywhere. Right? There was mistakes everywhere. James, the fourth quarter defense always gets way too conservative and plays soft zone coverage. Yeah, just like the Chiefs, right? Against the Chiefs, the first 2 drives before their game-winning drive, we were blitzing like crazy. Then we get the lead, and what happens? Avero calls the dogs off, and then Mahomes scrambles for 40-plus yards, and they win the game. So, I completely agree with you there. I can't believe the difference in Bryce we see today and Bryce we've seen last year. It's crazy. It's crazy what benching can do to somebody as long as they don't focus on the negatives. If they actually try to improve, and it looks like Bryce actually tried to improve and try to get better after being benched, it's crazy when you look in the mirror and say, oh, I can do this better, I can do this better, I can do this better. Look at Bryce, right? So I actually like that because when Bryce was being benched, it was a test for a lot of reasons. One, are you going to sulk on this? And there's some players, if they got benched, they're out. They're done. And most likely, if I'm not mistaken, if Bryce would have acted like that, they probably would have got rid of him, to be honest. Right? They got rid of Deontay Johnson. And Deontay Johnson was the best receiver by far. But you guys saw what happened with him and Andy Dalton. They said, all right, bye-bye, Deontay. And I'm sure if Bryce were to kind of sulk his head, they would have moved on. So I think Bryce was tested in more ways than one, to be honest. What's going on, Joe? Red zone offense, missed kicks and drops. Bryce could have had 300 tutties and 300 touchdowns. 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. 100%. 100%. Red zone offense has to get fixed. But as hard as I've been on this team, I got to say, I was impressed this game, right? Against the Bucs, Mike Evans was giving everybody the work. I'm not going to lie to you. Mike Evans, if they don't have Mike, we win this game probably by 15. Mike Evans was just giving everybody the work. And that rookie running back I think they have was a Bucky Irving. That dude's nasty too. So Bucs got a nice little team, but Mike Evans carried them, and we didn't have anybody who could stop them. Yeah, they got a nice, Bucky from Oregon. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, if it wasn't for Mike, oh, it's a wrap. I don't understand how we couldn't stop Mike at all. There was a third down play too. That's actually something I want to touch on. I'll get to the comments in a second. This is what I want to touch on real quick. There was that third down play where Baker is going to Mike to set the game-winning field goal. It's Shaw Smith-Wade, who did his thing today. Don't get me wrong. Shaw Smith-Wade did his thing today. But you put Shaw Smith-Wade against Mike Evans one-on-one, no backer inside, no safety inside dropping down, nothing, right? So how is this going to work? Shaw Smith-Wade, who, again, did his thing, he's going to give Mike Evans inside leverage, right? And what that means is inside release. So it was going to be hard to kind of – he's basically letting Mike Evans run a slant route, right? Shaw Smith-Wade is not jumping that. Most DBs aren't jumping that against Mike Evans. So that part confused me defensively. Like, why would you give Mike Evans inside release? Not have anybody on the inside. That confused me a little bit. Back to the comments, though. I feel like I'm just mad. I get it, Braden. I get it. I'm trying to focus on the positives. So many drop passes. Yeah, Moore had, if I'm not mistaken, Moore had a couple, which shocked me. Because Moore had a last couple of games, he's been playing good. But I think Moore had a couple drops. So, yeah, too many drops. Too many drops. Drops. Let's talk about this year's draft pick. XL, Brooks, Sanders, Wallace. Yeah, I mean, and don't forget Shaw Smith-Wade in there too. And then again, the guy I mentioned before, Michael Barrett, 7th round pick, they got Michael Jackson for. So, again, they lost. It sucks, but if I'm being optimistic, I'm like looking at the draft. I'm like seeing where we're drafting. I'm like, I hate tanking, but seeing how they drafted, I'm excited for the draft. Like, I am excited for the draft, to be honest. What's going on, Red? We got robbed 10 points from the missed field goals and still barely lost because of a Chuba fumble. Higher draft pick and Bryce played great. Exactly what I just touched on. Exactly what I just touched on. YB, thanks for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say here, right? I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? We lost, but silver linings. Draft pick and Bryce Young continues to look better and better. And you got to remember, who do we have out there receiving? Like, this is another thing to talk about. Receiving wise, you had Dan Chisna, somebody who got promoted this week. You had Felipe Franks out there, and then you had Sullivan out there. So we don't even have really a core yet, right? Right now we have Adam Thielen, XL, and David Moore. That's not bad, but you get Coker back, and then we go get an actual number one receiver. Let X play the Z, and then you kind of switch off Coker and Adam, right? I mean, you could actually probably put X in the slot, to be honest, and let Coker play the Z, but go get a number one receiver. Oh, we'll be cooking. Yep, Shaw the interception. Great interception by him, too. Metal said you can't, not on Chuba. You can't give up a field goal and you can't let them drive down, 11 plays and just run the ball down your throat. So, again, there's blame to go around everywhere, but we're not getting, I mean, if we're going to nitpick who this loss is on, I get it. It's frustrating, because our record could be 5-7 competing. But when I go back and look at the schedule, 47-10, 26-3, 36-10, 30-20, 40-7. That was earlier this year. After what I saw today, hey, I think we're taking steps in the right direction, to be honest. Our rookie class maybe the most impactful draft class in Panthers history. Oh yeah, we didn't have Jatavion Sanders today too. I mean, the draft we had, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, PV's been hurt, hasn't he? So, I mean, did they potentially hit on every single... That would be crazy. Let me know about PV in the comments. I know it'll probably take me a while to get there. So we got... I'm pulling up the draft real quick, guys. I just want to see, because that would be crazy if that's the case. So, All right. Panthers hasn't updated it yet. All right. Leggett, I think he's ahead. Brooks is ahead. Wallace is ahead. Sanders is ahead. Shaw Smith Wade. Crumdy I have not seen yet. And then Barrett they traded for Michael Jackson. So if Crumdy does his thing too, they potentially win 100% for rookies. That's crazy if that's the case. E.E. Cooking, now those pieces are in healthy. My gripe is the run D is still horrible. Yeah, the run D is bad, and I can't believe the Bucs on third down there in the red zone, they tried to pull. I feel like that's our strength is the outside. And with the Bucs pulling, going into our strengths, I was shocked they did that because inside the trenches is where we're weak at. So, I mean, Dark, I'm right there with you. Philly is going to light up our defense, man. Canal's play calling is going to have to be perfect. Philly's going to be a test. And this is one of those games where I'm going to look at with the silver lining, right? I'm going to okay, if we lose, and there's a chance we'll lose, right? How did the offense look against Philly, who's one of the best teams in it, probably top 5, right? How did the offense look? And that's what I'm going to take from that, to be honest. Brad said, I mean, the defense, Eddie and Chuba, they all share a little bit. Yeah. And then the receivers also dropped the ball too, Eddie, right? So, not Eddie, Red. So receivers dropped some balls. I thought Bryce Young played pretty good, to be honest. Other than that, I mean, it's blame to go around everywhere, but I don't think any one person played bad, which is shocking because that hasn't happened all season. Best said Canales is a bad play caller. I don't know that he's a bad play caller. Canales is also a first-year head coach, right? So I think he's trying to balance both things at once. I mean, we weren't doing great on the ground, to be honest. Best, I get what you're saying, but Chuba ran it 12 times. His longest carry was 9 yards. Jonathan Brooks, his longest carry was 9 yards off 6 carries. So we weren't really breaking anything deep within those 21 carries, give or take. Now, would I like to see Dave run the ball? Yes, but more in the red zone. More in the red zone is where I would like to see it. Storm said, I don't even want to blame the defense that much, though. 2 interceptions, held Baker to 150 yards through 3.5 quarters. Today's on Eddie. Today's on Eddie, and very specifically the rush defense. Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying, Storm. I feel like you are blaming the defense though at the end, and I feel like you kind of have to, right, within that game-winning drive, and then the field goal drive, and then that touchdown 11 plays 6 minutes of basically nothing but up to gut, right? That's when you have to step up the most, right? It's who's tired, who's disciplined, who's conditioned, and the Panthers interior just isn't conditioned late in games. We saw it against the Chiefs. We saw it against the Bucs now. Just not conditioned. All seasons have been when Chuba gets 20 carries. Are you talking about winning? Winning best? Let me know what you think of that. Using potentially Young. I mean, Eddie just had a bad day. I don't want to trip too much on Eddie. Just kind of like that Chuba fumble. Chuba's been our only bright spot. I mean, how good has Eddie been this season? Let's see. 94% this season. 100% extra points. What is he? Let's see if I just pull it up just for this season. What do you got, Eddie? What do we got? So ESPN has not updated it. As far as ESPN says, he's only missed 1 field goal prior to this game. So I don't want to put too much on him, to be honest. So Bucky got 180 this week. Saquon about to go for 300 next week. The difference is Saquon can catch and he can rush too. Now, Bucky, he's got some speed to the outside, but Saquon's different. And I'm curious to see what Avero's going to come up with to stop Saquon. I'm curious because I don't... That's going to be interesting. because every other running back has done their thing for the most part against the Panthers. How are they going to stop Saquon? How are they going to contain Saquon, to be honest? I literally feel bad for Bryce. He keeps having some game-winning drives. Now, Bryce is definitely showing up, though, Ryan. I mean, he's showing up because you got to think. Bryce has a lot of people kind of like on his neck because of how bad it was early on, right? And now you're seeing him, he's making plays. And that throw to Tremble, that throw when he had Chuba and Brooks in the backfield. Oh, nasty work. Have to draft all D or at least 85%. For the most part, I mean, what? I don't know what the percents are out of 7, right? So let's say we have 8 draft picks. Let's say we get 8. 5 or 6 of those are going to have to be defense. I think edge immediately. First, arguably, your first 2 picks. But even then, like, I'm comfortable. After how they drafted this past year, I'm comfortable in whatever kind of route they take, to be honest. You know, we keep saying they need to go after somebody top 10, top 15. But after seeing what they did in this draft, I'm comfortable with them, you know, kind of approaching it however they're going to approach it, as long as it's defense, to be honest. Is it Al or is it AI? If it's Al, but this loss hurt after being the only Panthers fan in the bar, being surrounded by drunk Bucs fans and hearing them cheering with joy like they never won a game. Yeah, that'll hurt, right? That'll hurt. The whole game, it's back and forth, and then you think you have it won, and then it gets ripped out from under you like a Chuba with the ball. So yeah, that'll hurt. That one will hurt. Defensive play calling of the game was trash, playing so soft. Yeah, just like last week against the Chiefs. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I don't know why we don't travel JC with the best receiver. Storm, the problem with JC, I've noticed, if I have to nitpick, he's either going to play physical or play 10 yards off. And it's like when he plays 10 yards off, he doesn't really, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to watch more film, but from my analysis so far, what I've seen this season, last season, is he doesn't try and take that chance to be like that Marcus Peters type, that ball hog type. He wants to keep everything in front of him. So he's either going to play physical or keep everything in front of him. And sometimes that gets him beat, to be honest. So I think that's why they switched it up with Shaw Smith-Wade, Mike Williams. I don't know. Brad said we got cheated of a touchdown at the end of the half. Yeah, I mean, it happened. I mean, it happened, my guy. Touchdown, yeah. Agreed. Shout out to YB. We don't have to draft a QB now. I don't think we have to. I don't think we have to. Case said everyone in our draft was damn near a hit. Yeah, that's why I'm so, like I said, going into next year, let me see what picks we have real quick. I kind of trust the Panthers, whatever they're going to do. You know, I mean, I'm curious what's going to happen to the, as far as the defensive side of the ball. But as of right now, it says we have our own first. We have the Rams second. We have our third. We have our fourth. We have the Cowboys fourth. Oh, that's huge. We have our fifth. We have the Giants fifth and the Ravens fifth. So that alone gives us what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1 7th rounder where that all depends on a bunch of other things. So we have 8 picks in the top 5 rounds. Hey, that seems pretty good to me. No Coker, no Sanders. We'll be fine. Yep. At first, I thought you meant Miles Sanders there, Scott, because Miles Sanders, this was the first time I think, unless he was hurt last season, he didn't play at all. So Sanders most likely is going to move on. Might get a draft pick for that. I have to look at the cap hits and everything, but you might get something for that too. Al said after that one-handed catch by Adam, we should have just kicked it. They touched on that, Al, but that's like a 52-yard field goal. Eddie was kind of already, 50% on the day, maybe like 66 or something. So I can see where you're going with that, but 52 is still quite a bit, and it was on the left hash, which is not Eddie's strong suit. 100% JM. Kendall, what's going on? We missed Coker and JT bad today. XL got a cool in the drops. More is more. We still need number one receiver. DC needs to. Yep, missing DB bad. And where has Crumdy? I think Crumdy's been hurt. But we'll touch on that all real quick. Coker and JT bad today. Yeah, Jatavion Sanders is a hell of a receiving tight end. And since we didn't even run the ball today that much, JT could have gone off today. Coker, I mean, yeah, Coker's nice. XL, we touched on that earlier. It's all about that ceiling for him. It's going to take time for him to develop. So, but we can check the injury report real quick. Panthers injury report. Let's see. Crumdy is not showing up on that. Let me see. We'll check that in a second. What else we got? Adam's touchdown should have counted. Yep, I agree, Keller. I agree. Scott said all Chuba was going to do was get a couple yards and line it up, but then all hell broke loose. Unfortunately. Yeah, I think I touched on it earlier, JM, 100%. Ryan said we were a couple of defensive players and an Aiden Hutchinson away. If we get an Aiden Hutchinson lined up opposite side of DJ Wano, woo, we're cooking. We are cooking. So this says November. So apparently Crumdy was activated a few weeks ago against the Giants. So was that right before we had our bye week and came back to the Chiefs? So Crumdy just recently got activated from IR. Yeah. So Crumdy, he's still kind of making his way back. And hey, DJ Wano was the same way. So as of right now, I have nothing but no reason to believe that the Panthers aren't doing the right thing. Leo said first touchdown Adam should have counted 100%. Trevor said Coker. I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Coker, I probably am way late on this topic. Saquon may go over 200 yards again. I don't think let's see. Has anybody really shut down Saquon? I would be shocked, to be honest. The Browns held Saquon to 47. Dallas held him to 66. But they also beat Dallas by 28 points, so that doesn't really mean a lot. And then Baltimore held him to 100, but that's also Baltimore. And then Tampa Bay held Saquon to 84. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to be optimistic here. Eddie played bad, yeah, 100%. Let's see. Keller said Jonathan Brooks looked good when he got the ball. Yeah, Brooks, that was the first or second catch, made two guys miss. Woo. That's where I want to see Brooks, in the open field, just like that. Have you guys also noticed Dave hasn't been calling screens as much too? So, we talk about Dave as a play caller. He's not good. He's not this. He's not that. But he's adapting. The screens weren't working, and look at Dave. Right, look at Dave, man. Panero missed short field goals. Yep, Jam. Tremble did his thing. Tremble looked good. I think Tremble finally got the opportunity to prove himself again, and look at him go. Eddie has a knee injury. I did not know that. Interesting. Let's go. JM, the donation. I appreciate you, my guy. Let's keep going. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go, Ryan. I just think you have to go for the win no matter what Eddie is feeling. I agree with you there. We'll be good next year. Upset next week against the Eagles. I hope so because, against the Chiefs, I feel like we should have won. Red zone was an issue. Same thing today against the Bucs. Red zone was an issue. So, hopefully against the Eagles, we figure out this red zone crap. Hopefully we do. Holding on the Irving touch. I have to go back and look. Marcus, I didn't see that. And then Khalil said Chuba messed up the game. Chuba messed it up. The front seven messed it up on some of those drives. The receivers with the drops. And then Mike Evans going for the nuclear on us like he did. And you can put the blame everywhere. Mike Evans doing what he did was just unacceptable, right? And you can make a case, okay, it's Mike Evans. arguably the most underrated receiver in football, to be honest with you. I mean, Mike Evans is that guy. 8 catches, 118 yards. So, I mean, we could put the blame on players, or we could put the blame on the coordinator for the scheme, right? If Mike Evans goes over the top, bang, safety's going to pick him up. If he goes inside, bang, safety's going to drop down, a backer's going to pick him up. We had no answer for Mike Evans. So we could say it's Chuba, but then are we just going to ignore Mike Evans going for 118 catches or 118 yards? You can't, right? So now Bucky got 152 yards on the ground. Are we going to ignore that? So there's blame to go around everywhere. Blame to go around everywhere. And then Bryce without Coker, without Jatavion Sanders. And you guys saw how much timing actually matters now, right? Timing is a big thing. Last year, everybody was hurt. Timing was off. Bryce was off on his passes. Now look at him, right? And so then you bring on Tremble. You bring on Moore a little bit more. Timing's a little bit different. Excuse me. Ryan, we could have been up. Yeah, that's the only thing that hurts Ryan. I mean, there are silver linings to the loss, but the fact we could have been or had a better record competing for the division does hurt a little bit. The D showed up. The D showed up when they had to last week. Yeah, as long as Viro's playing aggressive. If Viro isn't playing aggressive, then we're not. I don't know. Something's gonna have to change with that. Ryan said, "If only we stopped them in the last 30 seconds." Agreed. And you can say that the last 2 weeks, against the Giants, we got a lucky turnover there too. We almost lost that game too. So at least we're competing with everybody, though, right? Ever since the last few weeks, at least we're actually competing, right? So the Broncos 28-14 wasn't great, but wasn't terrible. And then from there, you beat the Saints 23-22. You beat the Giants. And the Chiefs and Buccaneers are both winnable games. So ever since Sean Payton said this offense sucked, the Panthers have turned it on. Keller said Bryce played great. One thing you can prove on is a deep ball. A lot of times, yeah, Kelly, they touched on this on their broadcast too. And was it against the Giants? I think he missed more, potentially deep. Bryce just has to hang it out a little bit more. Bryce has to just hang the ball out there just a little bit more for his receiver to give him a chance to go get it. But that's where it goes back to timing, right? And it's with Moore. And Moore, he's not the fastest guy. And I think sometimes Bryce kind of misanticipates Moore between Excel, right? Or Tompkins, right? Moore's a little bit slower. He doesn't have that burst. I think sometimes Bryce forgets that, to be honest. Payhorn, Fire DC. He's not using him correctly. He's actually a run. Payhorn. Avero at this point, I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth. He doesn't have Shaq. He doesn't have Derek Brown, but it's getting ridiculous at this point. Red said, I feel like our receivers get held on some of those deep shots. 100%. That's why Bryce has to just put a little bit more on it. Because, you're allowed to kind of play within 5 yards, give or take maybe an extra yard or two, right? And I think Bryce, he'll figure that out, right? He's figured everything else out so far. He'll figure it out. What position should we target in the draft? Safeties, edge rushers, linebackers, potentially defensive tackles too, if there's somebody there that kind of fits the scheme. But it depends, right? Is Avero coming back next year? Are we going to be running a 3-4 or 4-3? A lot of that is going to depend on that after we kind of draft our edge guys and our safeties. Marcus said we don't have a good safety. Yeah, we don't. We do not. Front seven on defense is where we should look in the draft, specifically the D line. Front seven. Yeah, Brett. We got a little bit more pressure today, but Baker still had way too much time. He had way too much time, especially the last couple of drives. So, with that being said, guys, get any more last minute questions in. Gonna have to call it a wrap. A little bit more early on the stream than I usually do, but got a couple things to take care of tonight. So, final thoughts on the game. Final thoughts, predictions against the Eagles next week. Let me hear it. I think we're getting better, to be honest. I honestly think we're on the right track, right? Eagles, 12.5-point favorites. The Bucs are what, 6.5? Chiefs are what, 13.5, I think. So, hey, against the Eagles once again, we could compete right here. We could compete. The Eagles, excuse me, they're a good team, but I think we can compete offensively. Defensively, that's a whole other thing. Our front seven got mauled in the run game. Yeah, Red. I mean, I was shocked the Bucs didn't run it more, to be honest. I mean, Bucky still had 25 carries. I was shocked they didn't run it more. 0 passing yards from Hurts, 300 rushing yards from Saquon. That's gonna be crazy. The Hurts, and what Hurts, does he still have all of his receivers healthy? Brown, Devontae, the tight ends, and all of them. Let's see. Are they all healthy? They beat the Ravens 24-19. What did they even do? Let's see. Saquon, 23 carries, 100 yards. A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. Oh, okay. No Devontae Smith. So, they have Jahan Dotson. And I like Jahan. I wish the Panthers would have got him. But A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert is going to be interesting. Because I think Trevin's going to probably be picking up Dallas Goedert, the safety is. And then A.J. Brown, Mike Will, and J.C. Horn on him. So that'll be interesting. Upset, we doing good. No way he's supposed to lose 3 sacks. Yeah, I agree, Marcus. Hopefully get that upset. Eagles 30, Panthers 27. Best O-line in the league, Philly. Yeah, they have a beast O-line. So that they might they might just run it down our throat. It's really refreshing that Bryce looks like the guy every week. That's all we can ask for. Yeah, the kid. He looks better and better at every different aspect. The only thing to improve on now is kind of just hanging those deep balls a little bit more. But other than that, I mean, yeah, can't complain about anything. Shout out to Bryce for taking hits and standing in the bucket. Yeah, that's another thing to talk about, Marcus. And I wish I would have touched on this earlier, but yeah, he saw pressure coming and he stood there and took the hit. So that's actually a perfect note to go out on. Video coming tomorrow on Bryce Young. Stay tuned for that. I mean, guys, my thing is, if you go back to earlier this year, we're getting blown out every week. People were turning the game off after the first half. And now look, a couple games we probably should have won, but excuse me, we're right there at the very end. 23-22 we won. 2017 we won in overtime. We lose against the Chiefs late as the clock expires, and we lose in overtime to the Bucs because of a fumble. We're right there, man. We're right there. So with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. Stay tuned tomorrow. More content coming soon, guys. Kind of feel like we're on the right track. Let me know your thoughts. Take it easy. Once again, I appreciate everybody who always supports the stream. Much love to you guys. Have a good night.